Unfortunately, in it is a routine and a routine practice in developed countries, but in Asian countries or African countries, underdeveloped countries, there is a very little focus on research. And when we are talking about research, it includes all kinds of research, especially when we talk now, it's about healthcare research. There are many reasons for this negligence. Beside financial resources and funds, the lack of training is one reason. The motivation is another reason. If I have observed and noticed, if people are conducting any studies, they are publishing papers in this part of the world, mainly because they need some promotions. It is for the job requirement, for related to students' theses, etc. So when they are conducting research, they are not properly trained in the research. Their research agenda or research hypothesis or research topics, it may not uh, is not compatible or may not serve the needs of the society of the local problems. So there is a lack of coordination also. Um, this is why we at Science, we understand, we realize that we we need to promote research activities, and for that very purpose, the most effective way to promote research can be the journal clubs. So that is my primary focus and interest, major interest, that we must use this tool. And at this platform, it will provide us an opportunity to share the latest research papers, their methodologies, their conclusions, their outcomes, and what are the learning or recommendations that we can extract from those papers. Um, I would like to request, I always try to start from myself. So we should give an example to young people, young graduates and professionals. But I would like to invite all of you, including students, that you should come forward. Um, the journal clubs are done by experts, by freshers, and by students at the same time. So all of you are invited. If you have a good article, a research paper that has a good impact and that has a good value for the other people to know, or that can have a positive effect on the practice of professionals and practitioners, try to talk to me, share it with me, and we will try, depending on the availability of our team members, that who can share. So maybe it will be monthly. We can the frequency can be, it can vary from depending on the available uh, moderators of the, or who want to be the presenter in this activity. So I welcome all of you in first kind of our journal club at Science, and I hope we will all work together to promote this activity in a coordinated way, and it will go a long way in the improvement of research, encouragement of research, developing a research culture in this underdeveloped countries, this part of the world. So uh, let's help each other. Let's help our community, our countries, our regions to look forward to promote research, to conduct research, to publish good research papers uh, that can change the patient's, lifestyles, patient quality of life, and many other benefits, of course, we can reap in future. So the title of this Sorry for interruption. People are actually joining now, so I have to admit them. Uh, the it's more of since fasting month for the Muslim community around the world is approaching. So I thought to pick up this meta-analysis. It was high impact publication from Journal of American Medical Association. So it is high impact, and it has been published at a very reputed, world-renowned journal. So I thought, let us talk about it. Let me share the basic summary and the methods and the conclusion of this research paper, which is an umbrella review of meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. And this is about the intermittent fasting and obesity-related health outcomes. So the authors, I will give you the intro. They are from different countries. The authors who have teamed up to write this very nice and sophisticated, useful meta-analysis. They are from Malaysia. They are from U.S. Wisconsin's Medicine University. One is from India. One of the author. Another author is from Boston, Massachusetts, and then one is from Chicago. Most of them are from pharma department in various universities, 3 to 4 universities of America, one from India, one from Thailand, uh, Bangkok University. So these institutes are highly high reputed institutes. So the authors, of course, they are expert in their field. Now this is the publication and the link. If you want to go back and read the full article, it is easily available, and this link is here that I shared. Uh, you can also use this link to get a copy, full text to read later on. Because here in the journal clubs, usually you just discuss the summary and the results, and you take and you may be taking about critical view and appraisal about that research paper. So you need a full text later on. So that's why this article you can access in JAMA Network Open 2021. This reference is available. So if you want to read the full article, it is available. So what is an intermittent fasting? Fasting, I am student of history also. So beside the research knowledge, whatever I read about fasting, let me share it with you. And it will date back to 90s, early 90s. I was a university student when I read one book about fasting, and it was written by an author who was a French Muslim, Dr. Hamidullah. You can write down the name of this guy because this book is very important. One of the referenced book in our history last 30, 40 years. So in his book, I got more awareness about the philosophy of fasting. He talked about in a philosophical way where he mentioned that the, this is the only part of religion or worship side of religion that every religion has recommendations on fasting. There is no religion in the world it does not recommend fasting. So it's like a universal recommendation from religious and spiritual point of view. This is mentioned in book of Dr. Hamidullah. I am giving the reference. In that book, what shocked me and still relevant, because when I am going through these articles, it reminds me of his text, his books, his paragraphs that I read, where he in one chapter he mentioned that the fasting is equally recommended by all religion, and this is equally beneficial for all living things. This surprised me, because when he explained the concept, he said it is not only for human beings. Human fast, animal fast, and plants also fast. The explanation was very interesting, and I couldn't, that is why I could not forget his explanation. He said the hibernation period of animals is a fast for them. It's a fasting months and weeks for them. This after this before spring, the season for plants, we know that it is autumn, where the plants are shedding their leaves. They are devoid of energy and nutrients, so they shed their leaves. So this is how the plants have fasting exercise. So according to Dr. Hamidullah, all religions recommend fasting, all living organisms practice fasting, so it has a huge benefits. He says it's a kind of rejuvenation, regeneration. You become a new self, whether single cellular or multicellular creatures. And for human beings, we do have impact on the cognitive side, on psychological side, on spiritual side, on the mood of a person. Now, I will relate to scientific evidence now, but this was a historical background that I learned from his book, Dr. Hamidullah's book, and the name of the book was Lectures of Dr. Hamidullah. I think Allahabad lectures or something like this. But I will, if someone needs it, I will double check and provide you the name. Maybe this book is still available. So, coming fast track, coming to our directly to our topic, intermittent fasting. Um, we learn about snacking and eating all the day, and these dogmas and many things might be changed after confirmation of the benefits of intermittent fasting. So, what is intermittent fasting? Um, it's a strategy which relates to the dietary habits, and if we define it, it's a period of eating and then period of starving. So there is a period that you alternate with starvation. One time you are in a fed state, other time you are in unfed state, you are starving. So you alternate these two periods to make it an intermittent fasting. So in intermittent fasting, we focus on the when the food is consumed and total quantity consumed. So timing here, not the quality and other things are. Here we are talking about the more about the time of the food we consume, the quantity that we consume, how many hours, how many days. So it's more of timing of your eating and starving. So if I mention here abbreviation for intermittent fasting. It is IF. So don't mix it with the regular if. So I just ask this question, and it is a question from all of you. Do you think it's a metabolic switch, or when we are in a fed state and when we are starving, uh, does it have any effects on metabolic system? Do you think, can anybody answer? Yes, it is. It is that is the mainstay of fasting, and this is how it works. So intermittent fasting works through an altered liver metabolism. Normally, liver provides you glucose. Glucose is required by all cells in a living organism for operations and functions and activities. This provides energy to our body organs and cells and to uh, vital organs also. So we move, our muscles require glucose. So liver is the metabolic factory actually that provides glucose and energy to the cells. So what happens uh, when we are talking about fat state and unfat state? Basically, we are altering liver metabolism, uh, where the body periodically switches from liver derived glucose. So you can call it liver burners, and then it shifts to adipose cell derived ketones during the fast period. So it is switching from liver burners to the fat burners. So this is all how intermittent fasting works. So what is the benefit in the literature? Uh, there is a huge literature available. I even still remember, I forgot to share with you that I used to read about Fasting Center International at least 20 years ago. It was a full fasting center in Europe, and they treat diseases by recommending various types of fast. And even I used to one time I tried, but I couldn't publish article the health benefits of fast. But I remember I gathered a lot of literature about cardiovascular disease, diabetes, pregnancy, weight loss, and many other uh, metabolic related aspects. So let's take a look at the available literature that explains that fasting stimulates adaptive cellular responses, including improved glucose regulations, increased stress resistance. So you improve your stress resistance when you are fasting. You improve your glycemic control. You improve, or you can better fight the inflammation and the upregulation of autophagy, where autophagy is self-eating, the damaged cells are removed by the body to defend against oxidative and metabolic stress. So these are a few to mention the benefits of the fast. But when we are in a fed state, what happens is that the hyperinsulinemia, there is an insulin in the body that keeps you charged, that keeps your mental status charged, that puts physiological stress all the time on your body. So there is a risk for uh, resistance, more inflammation, and oxidative damage to the body. So by fasting, you are in a starved situation. So all your parameters are metabolomics, you can say, whether it's cardiac, whether it's endocrine, related to glucose, lipids, uh, inflammation, even the cognitive side. Now, the latest literature is confirming that we get benefit by that state because there is low insulin level. So there is less burden, there is less stress on the body. So clinical trials up till now have demonstrated the benefits of intermittent fasting for many health conditions, especially obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases through reduced weight and improved cardiometabolic parameters. So it has been now established by many clinical trials that it can help in correcting or in improving these clinical conditions. However, there is a difference of the level of evidence. That is what we will now look at this, you know, review metabolic, sorry, meta-analysis of this 130 studies is what we discuss now. So this umbrella review also discuss many randomized clinical trials. So as we say that several systematic reviews and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials have been published, and they also confirm the benefits of intermittent fasting. So what is important about this meta-analysis that we are talking about now, that was published in Journal of American Medical Association? They do talk about intermittent fasting like other clinical trials, but can distinguish them from other researches? To date, they all discuss benefits of intermittent fasting in randomized controlled trials, but to date, the strength and quality of those evidences in aggregate was rarely or very little, if it was synthesized. The strength and quality has never been the focus of those trials or those researches. This is what has been covered in this meta-analysis. So this is a unique feature for this meta-analysis that will fill the evidence gap. Now in this analysis, they focus on strength and quality of those evidence that has been done uh, by and conducted by other investigators. So this meta-analysis, when we look at the objective, they said the authors, they wrote in the article that they want to grade evidence from published meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials, those trials where they assessed the associations of intermittent fasting on intermittent fasting. Now these are 0 calorie alternate day fasting, modified alternate day fasting, or the 5-2 diet, the time restricted eating. These are different types, four types, I think, four types of intermittent fasting that they gathered and they synthesized the literature and randomized control trial, and then they assessed them for the strength of the quality or the strength of the grades of recommendations that they want to give it to the practitioners and to the patient, and the on what effect on obesity related health outcomes. Effect or association, you can say they study the association of intermittent fasting on obesity related health outcomes. And there are many obesity related health outcomes we will discuss now in coming slides. So what was their question that was formed by these authors before they start conducting this meta-analysis of 130 randomized clinical trials? They wrote, what is the association of intermittent fasting with health outcomes? Number one. And what is the strength of the evidence? So number one is, what is the association of fast with health outcome? There is an association or there is no association. Number two, if there is an association, is this low grade, high grade, moderate, poor, strong? So they want to determine the level of the association, strength of evidence. This is called strength of evidence. So as I said, the important thing or unique thing about this meta-analysis, that unlike the other publications and randomized trials, in this trial they focus on the strength of evidence. Because when you recommend to a patient to fast or to start intermittent fasting, you need to have a strong evidence. With weak evidence, it might not, or it might backfire, or it might not work the way you want from your patient. So for practitioners, it is always important that you look for systematic reviews. That is the reason you go for systematic reviews, or you are looking for meta-analysis beside randomized controlled trials. Because I think some of you, maybe a few of the present attendees today, they attended my courses on research, maybe some people from African countries. If you remember, I talk about this question, I talk about the study designs, and I talk about the strength, the link between predictor and outcome. So the predictor and outcome association, this association can be weak and this association can be strong. So when the association is weak, it is possible that you may not be able to convince your patient, or you may not recommend it to your patients. And the way you can do it if you have a strong evidence. So for strong evidence, what you need analytical research. And I always teach about the kinds of research, and I will just give you a hint that there are two types. Broadly, the whole research has been divided into two parts. One is descriptive type of research, the other is analytical type of research. Descriptive types may have case studies, reports, surveys, but and you don't analyze anything. You just look at the current situation of whatever you are talking about. But in analytical studies, you are comparing, you are looking at association of two things. So example is cohort study, case control study, and cross-sectional study. These types of studies are part of analytical studies. The other name for these studies is also observational studies, because here you don't test anything. You are not trying, or you are not making an experiment. You are just observing your subjects and patients or whatever your sample is. So the association can be proven by observational studies, but the association that you can prove from randomized trial is more stronger than if you prove with the observational studies. So you need for strong evidence. Always remember, strong evidence. For details, you can attend this course. I recommend everyone, all practitioners should have a research course. At least if you are even a practitioner, you need to read the research paper. So if you don't have a basic idea about the research types, study designs, you cannot decide that this research is applicable in which patient, which conditions. So that's why I recommend that you all practitioners, academic people, definitely they do the research, they still do research training, but practitioners, at least they should have the basic know-how about the research study designs. Okay. So the question was asked in this research paper. It relates to strength of evidence, and this is very much needed question. Because what we observe in practice that people they even don't bother about the evidence. Forget about the strong evidence. Even the basic evidence, very few people they look for basic evidence. Most of practitioners, especially in our countries, underdeveloped countries, it is my observation and the reports that I got from different sources. Practitioners are very unlikely they are aware about the evidence. Everyone talks about evidence, but they don't know what constructs weak or good evidence because of the lack of training. So they just recommend, like, let's say, weight loss diets uh, and other strategies that they recommend to their patients. And they are just using hearsay, or they just Google and they try to search from any source, which is not an evidence. Scientifically, that is against the practice. So the evidence will come from observational studies. Evidence comes from experimental studies. Evidence can also come from descriptive type of studies. But as I told you, you need to understand that the descriptive studies don't prove any, you don't study association. You study association only in observational studies or in clinical trials. And observational studies can show an association, but the causal link between predictor and the outcome, between independent variable, or you can say treatment, and the disease, can only be proven strongly, or you can say the strong evidence will come from experimental type of studies. That is randomized clinical trials. There are non-randomized clinical trials also. They are also experimental type of studies where the evidence is stronger than observational studies. But the beyond randomized clinical trials, now comes a new technique, and the researchers all around the world now they are more inclined, who are looking for evidence, they are more inclined towards systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Because you go for randomized control trials, there are many randomized control trials uh, which have some flaws, like sample size. Sample size is in many trials is very small. So to overcome this problem, you go for meta-analysis and systematic reviews, where you collect many randomized RCTs. As in this article, they are evaluating I think 130 RCTs. So that means the conclusion out of this meta-analysis will constitute the strongest evidence as far as the intermittent fasting is concerned to date. Until now, what I'm sharing in front of you, this is the most the strongest evidence that I am bringing in front of you about fasting. It has never been done before like this. The way they evaluated the quality of evidence in this meta-analysis was never done before. Now I will show. So there should be a question, and then objectives and hypothesis for any kind of research. So for them, they hypothesize that altering body metabolism may lead or will lead to long-term health benefits. So this is their presumption, that when you are studying fasting or you're looking at benefit of fasting, you are hypothesizing that it may have long-term health benefits. Here I will give you on some places, in general clubs you may also do. I'm suggesting to you as well. This is what I am going to do now. You can also do if you have a good grip on research. Let's say, for example, long-term health benefits. Here, it was better that the authors, if they could have mentioned what type of health benefits, if they could have narrowed it down in hypothesis. Here, they use this broader term, which according to me could have been refined by saying long-term health benefits on obesity, or long-term health benefits to reduce obesity or to reduce metabolic effect, something that can specify, your area of study. So as I said, intermittent fasting is of various types. The most famous types which they have studied and they collected RCTs was zero calorie alternate day fasting, ADF, modified alternate day fasting, MADF, the 5-2 diet, and then time restricted eating pattern. So these four types of fast and the randomized trial related to these fast has been synthesized as far as the evidence is concerned, and in this meta-analysis. For example, the zero calorie alternate day fasting is a type of fast where you alternate days of fasting with zero calorie intake, and then the days of ad libitum eating. In second type, modified alternate day fasting, uh, you alternate between days of ad libitum eating and days of fasting with total caloric intake, and that may range from or up to 600 calories. The calories have been restricted, and it may be for 3 to 5 days in a week. Then in the third type of intermittent fast, that is 5-2 diet, in which participant fasted for 1 to 2 days per week. 5 days they can take, they eat at libitum, and for 2 days uh, it can be a consecutive and it can be non-consecutive. They should fast for 2 days. And 5 days they can eat at libitum, at will, whatever they want to. But when they are fasting, a maximum calories is 600 per day. So the fourth type, that is time restricted eating type of intermittent fasting, where you restrict time of fast, and let's say this type of fasting involved for 12 to 24 hours per day. So I think maybe it is close to what we practice in Muslim countries. Okay, so uh, now the question is how they can collect the RCTs. You need a research reliable database. For example, you heard about PubMed, Embase. I need to admit few people who are trying to join us. Okay, so the authors they look for PubMed, Embase, Cochrane database of systematic reviews. You know, Cochrane is the most famous database. Anyone who wants uh, systematic reviews, who is looking and searching, you should go to Cochrane database. It is available. You can Google it, and they have their own website. And now I can see the Cochrane database has been split into mm, hundreds of different types depending on the specialty, disease. So you just name it, and then you will find very nice and very sophisticatedly, prepared systematic reviews on those websites. So all the researchers, they look for Cochrane, Embase for any type of, evidence review or the RCTs at one place. So it was, they mentioned that they conducted this in January, from start of the Cochrane until January 12, 2021. And then they analyze it in April 21 until July 21. So this is just, they mentioned that how did they work. Then meta-analysis of RCTs investigating effects of intermittent fasting in adults were included. So here the inclusion criteria should apply, and you should decide that what you want, because that is going to affect your results. If you have meta-analysis with weak studies or weak RCTs, or most of your meta-analysis, if they are comprised of, let's say, small size RCTs, so the quality of evidence may not be as strong as you are looking. So the effect size of some terminologies maybe for most of you, I don't think so you will be able to comprehend easily until you study research and take the course on research. That is why I'm saying if this paper is in front of you, you might feel difficulty to understand the whole terminologies. So you need to have a basic comprehension about the various terms of research. So data extraction, quality assessment was independently performed by these people and checked by another 2 reviews. Discrepancies were resolved with consensus of the whole author team of the authors. So this is a part of the methodology. They focus on quality. Quality is very important. Quality of analysis was assessed by AM star. This tool they use as known as a measurement tool to assess systematic reviews. So it's a reliable, famous tool. So that means when you are using this tool, you are looking at the quality of meta-analysis, your analysis and results become more reliable. So you are using a reliable tool to check the quality of those meta-analysis. So making your, it means you are making your research more reliable. And what was graded as high, moderate, low, and critically low. So this was now about, if you are interested, because I will try to skip it now to avoid any, it might bore you, but um, the effect size was categorized. This is a part of methodology that for any research you need to do it. There are comparer, there are population, intervention, outcomes to create a list of unique association, because they want to look at the association of intermittent fast on, let's say, anthropometry, or let's say lipid profile or endocrine profile, CRP, glucose, fasting, blood pressure. There are many, I think they have 104 associations they study. Let's see in coming slides. As I said, their focus was to assess the quality of evidence, and there are many effects and associations they study. But here, you remember I think most of you must know the grade criteria. Now, the quality of evidence is analyzed by this criteria, which is grading of recommendations, assessment, development, and evaluation, right? So again, the quality of evidence must be ensured, must be assessed. You cannot just take any meta-analysis with poor quality, and then you cannot constitute a good recommendations, because grade criteria helps you to make a good level of or high grade of recommendations. This is used to extract the information that you want to pass on to your patients. So your recommendations should be of high grade, and that is possible if you have a strong criteria, that is great criteria. And what they looked at, the domains they looked at: risk of bias. Most of research, they have a big problem, and that is bias: research bias, selection bias, patient bias, interview bias, information bias. There are many biases. The biggest flaw in any research is the bias. That's most common. So if there is a bias, the results are biased. That means the conclusion you are drawing from your research will be unreliable. So second point was, to make sure the inconsistency, they want to reduce or overcome these problems: indirectness, imprecision, publication bias. So the quality of evidence, the domain of 5 domains where they applied these grade criteria. So then when they apply, they graded the strength of evidence as high, moderate, low, very low, using this criteria. And this is the whole, university, McMaster University sensitivity. These are the details I skip here. You can read in the paper. So now let's, after this methodology portion, look at the findings. What they, after this, you know, very sophisticated methodology they adopted, their findings now, I suppose, are reliable now. What they did, they took a total of 11 meta-analysis, and those analyses have 130 RCTs. Now, these are the statistical terminologies, may not be interesting for everyone. Medians and small size, small sample size here, I think may be interesting for you. See here, because this will come later on, I will discuss it as a limitation of this. Every study has a limitation or weak point. This is the weak point of this meta-analysis, the sample size, which is 38. So we have 11 meta-analysis comprising of 130 RCTs, which is quite big number of RCTs. So it is a good effort by them. Follow-up period was 3 months, and they, as I said, the association they study between intermittent fasting and the outcomes like obesity related outcomes, I mean, is 102, 104 unique association were studied in this meta-analysis. And what was the finding? Simple, just I summarize these points because you can read the paper and there is a detail of the findings. I just summarize the most relevant points. So 28, associations were statistically significant. Maybe some of you may know that what is significant, what is insignificant. It is not the English significant. In statistics there is a probability p-value. If it is less than 0.05, that we call it significant. You may read it, or when you take this course you will understand all these. So 28 associations were significant, which is maybe less than 28 out of this 104 association. So you can say most of the associations were studied were not significant. Were not significant means you cannot take it as an evidence to call or to recommend something from your side. Here the significance is very important. If it is significant association, then you can go and you can check which one is of high quality and low quality. Again, the evidence still is not confirmed. You need more search. So these significant associations, they demonstrated the beneficial outcomes for number one, BMI, body mass index, body weight, fat mass, low density lipoprotein, LDL, and then HDL, and triglycerides, and fasting plasma glucose, fasting insulin, homeostatic model assessment of insulin resistance, and blood pressure. So these are the types of some beneficial outcomes out of 104 outcomes that they study in this meta-analysis. So now they found that intermittent fast was associated with reduced fat-free mass. One significant association supported by high quality evidence, as we mentioned before, they apply the grade criteria. So high quality of evidence supported only one significant association. Evidence was modified by it was about modified alternate day fast, and it was for 1-2, which span over 1 to 2 months, which is again a shorter period. We will come back to the limitation of this study. This is the limitation. So it was also associated with moderate reduction in body mass index in healthy adults and adults with overweight, obesity, or non-alcoholic fatty liver disease compared with regular diet. So they found something better than the regular diet in the form of intermittent fasting on especially these outcomes. Now in research you always narrow down your conclusion or your association. So you can say it is beneficial, but in these conditions, in these patients. Okay, you cannot generalize fast is good for everyone. This is how the practitioners are making a big mistake. This is called evidence-less practice. You have evidence for overweight, you only talk about overweight. Don't generalize it to all patients or patient with diabetes or patient with cancers. This studies only has proven association for overweight and obese patients. So you narrow down your recommendations to only this population. Okay, next, the question, you remember the question was, what is the association of intermittent fasting with health outcomes and what is the strength of evidence? Now, what does this finding now explains? This review of 11 meta-analyses of randomized clinical trials, what it describes, 104 outcomes associated with intermittent fasting on obesity-related health outcomes found 6. Before I said one association, significant association of high quality. But here, look at this, 6 statistically significant association of intermittent fasting. These are not all of them are supported by high quality of evidence. Here, these 6 statistical significant associations were supported by associations of intermittent fasting supported by moderate to high quality of evidence. So 6 were moderate to high, and only 1 was supported by high quality evidence. So this is the uh, you can say major finding or the explanation of that finding. Now the outcomes associated with modified alternative fasting included moderate reduction of body weight, body mass index, cardiometabolic risk factors in adults with overweight or obesity. So remember that we are talking about intermittent fasting and its health, its impact or benefits uh, related to obesity, health related benefits related to obesity. We are not talking about cancer, we are not talking about any other disease. So when this evidence is being constituted or spread by practitioners, it should be applied to this population only. If they apply out of this population to another population, they try to generalize this same evidence. That means they are not following the evidence. They are actually bypassing or they are wrongly interpreting these results. You have to specify and narrow down your recommendations. What does it mean now? This is another summary of the, to make it better understand for everyone. So what does it mean? Our conclusion, this review suggests now that intermittent fasting may have, you see the word may have, even you did a lot of analysis and meta-analysis, and the scientific language shouldn't be that it will have a beneficial role. See that this is the difference when you are writing, the medical writing is different, that you use the term may have a beneficial role because the level of evidence may be moderate or maybe high grade evidence, but even the significant results and associations are not 100%, they do not prove the causal link or an association. That's why you always, as a student, I always learn that you should not use that it will cause, it will lead. You say it may lead, it may have beneficial role, it may cause this, because you remember in your mind that significance is at the 95% interval, confidence interval. Some of you who have done the research, they know what I'm talking. 95% confidence interval means you still have a margin of 5% of a mistake or error. That's why it should be written like this. And when you are recommending to your patient, now this is for practitioners, that intermittent fasting, when you are recommending, you will recommend and say like this, it may have a beneficial role in improving your anthropometrics. We have 95% confidence interval, but not the 100%. So even then, you will say like it may have beneficial role in improving anthropometric and cardiometabolic outcomes, especially for whom? Not for female, not for everyone, not for children. You must specify for adults with overweight or obesity, not with cancers, not with diabetes, not with anything. You see, the selection of the words you need to understand clearly if you want to follow evidence-based research and recommendations. The words mean a lot. As I said, may is different from will. If you use here intermittent fasting will have a beneficial role, this is different than when you say it may have a beneficial role. So you should be sensitive to the recommendations because you are treating your patients. So if you don't have the evidence, you cannot say it. You cannot say just because you are a practitioner. You are not a practitioner or you are not an evidence-based practitioner if you are misusing the terminology or you are modifying terminology that has not been proven in research. So just a brief few points now. What are the advantage of this, or what are the plus point? What are the pros and what are the cons? What are the weak points and what are strong points in the study? This, as I said in the start of this presentation, that the author they confirm that to their knowledge to date, this study is the first umbrella review. Now look at this. There haven't been any study or umbrella review done before this publication, and that systematically assess the potential obesity related. Again, I focus on obesity related. Remember these words. Health outcomes associated with different types of intermittent fasting across a large spectrum of published meta-analysis of RCTs and evaluated the evidence by using well-recognized GREAT criteria. So this is it's a first of its kind of umbrella review. You know, umbrella review is also is a new terminology. They analyze and review many things under one umbrella. So it's a kind of umbrella review of meta-analysis. Now, what are the limitations? Let's say um, in this article, they themselves author as a researcher, when you are writing, you need to write your limitations. This is a part tradition and a routine practice for all authors to write the limitations. Like here, they confess there are several limitations of this, study. First was the umbrella review only focused on existing meta-analysis, and they did not took into consideration the adverse outcomes. You see, they only look at the positive side. Now, maybe intermittent fast have some adverse effects on some patient population, overweight or obese with certain disease or other conditions. They just took at current data, existing meta-analysis, and only positive side was studied. So it was not studied. Adverse was aspect were not studied and not included in existing meta-analysis. This is a gap. This is a limitation. So what is the effect of this limitation? That it will preclude all of us from making a comprehensive evaluation of both benefits and safety aspect of intermittent fasting. We are saying that it may have a positive effect, intermittent fasting, on people, adults with overweight or obesity. Health outcomes may be improved, but we are not sure what are the adverse outcomes. There may be some adverse outcomes as well, which were never studied. This is the number one limitation or the flaw in this study. So this gives you an idea that for the future, you must study this. This is a future study idea. So from the same limitations, any researcher or investigator, if you are smart, you pick the gap, and then you will pick up this idea to further study in your further research. Second flaw was this review did not directly assess the quality of all primary studies included in each meta-analysis. Actually, they just rely on the the assessment reported by the study authors. Now, you never know what was the quality of all those 130 randomized clinical trials. Although they use some, but internally the study was how it was assessed, quality was maintained, it was reported by the study authors. Third flaw was we cannot answer the question. Which question? That intermittent fasting has association with other clinical outcomes. You see, we can only answer that it has effect on obesity or adults with overweight. They can have metabolic, cardiovascular, cardiometabolic benefits. They can have weight reduction. They can lose weight. They can improve fat, free mass, or etc. But you cannot, by this study, we cannot answer. There is a gap of evidence here that will it have a benefit effects for cancer patients? Can it give benefits to diabetic patients? And what are the mortality mortality aspect? These are some questions which we cannot answer even after this research. These are flaws, these are limitations. That means it is a good idea to study. If you want to study in future, you can pick up these 3 points. And if you want to write a meta-analysis, if you want to write a systematic review, this is a good recipe and a good spice for your future research. Now, the other positive point of this research was authors say that our findings are important in the context of scarcity of the evidence-based support for if that can be used to generate recommendations. So it is good that you can generate recommendations for clinicians. So it is good for clinicians to take benefit from this out of this study, and they can use it for general population who have obesity. Remember, general population with obesity, only adults, right? Remember. So this is for clinicians. You can use these results for your in your clinics. So other limitation was that this review did not include meta-analysis of observational studies. You see, RCT is not observational study. I told you two types of analytical studies. One is observational, other is experimental. RCTs are only experimental studies. So cohort study, case control study, cross-sectional study. These are the three famous types of observational study. So this meta-analysis includes only RCTs. Uh, it is free of observational studies. Why observational studies could have been taken and have a benefit? Because it may have a longer duration of follow-up. RCTs, remember, are always small size. They are always short duration. This is a limitation of RCTs because they are very expensive and follow-up is very difficult for even for patients to take any treatment. Observational studies, you can have a big sample like cross-sectional studies. You can say thousands of people are enrolled, and you can follow up in prospective studies. Prospective studies, it can comprise of 10,000, 50,000, etc. These are not as as costly as the RCTs. So it is not included in this meta-analysis. This is another gap. If we could have included those observational studies, maybe due to the longer duration of follow-up, the results would have been different. What do you think? Do you agree with this or not? The longer duration can create a bias. Short duration can bring more bias in your results. So it is agreeable point that if we could have more observation studies. So remember, in future, if you are doing a meta-analysis on IF intermittent fasting, you could collect from Cochrane database more observation studies. Observational studies like cohort studies, cross-sectional studies, and case control studies. Because most RCTs included in this analysis were limited to short duration of follow-up, that is median duration of 3 months only. See, 3 months is different than 6 months and 1 year. The results might be different. The post fast, metabolic effects you can study in the longer duration. Relatively small number of sample size, as I said, 38 participants, median size. This is very small. So it can affect your results with the small size and large size. So this was partly because weight loss strategies made it. Now they are giving the reason that it was because it is difficult to follow the intermittent fast and weight loss strategies like fasting. It is difficult for participant to adhere to the side treatment for a longer period of time, as well as a lack of follow-up to assess the sustaining beneficial effects of after cessation of intermittent fasting. So these are some of the plus point. Plus point was it is rarely studied umbrella review, never done before, on quality of evidence, strength of evidence. The limitations are many, 3 or 4 limitations. Sample size small, could have been observational study. We could have added, uh, maybe other diseases also in this analysis. So now, concluding remarks, this umbrella, this is by the authors, not by myself. All these things have been picked up from the article. So this umbrella review found beneficial associations of intermittent fast with anthropometric cardiometabolic outcomes that were supported by moderate to high level, high quality of evidence. These results support the role of IF, especially modified alternative fasting in adults with, now remember, the benefits supported by the evidence mainly related to modified alternative fasting in adults with overweight and obese. Uh, I have to, okay. Obese as a weight loss approach with metabolic benefits. More now, this is important point. The last sentence is very important. It's a very nice conclusion. So, what should we do? More clinical trials are needed. Long-term follow-up, they should have long-term follow-up to investigate the effects of IF on clinical outcomes such as cardiovascular events and mortality. So the author in the conclusion, he will also point out the gap in the research, and he can recommend like this, that you need more clinical trials which are of longer duration, and you also study other outcomes like mortality, etc. Thank you very much, and I believe my comments about this, I read the article also, most of the items. It was very nicely done research using Cochrane, using M-base research database. So we could say the authors, they did a lot of strong job, a lot of good work actually. So it is a beginning of research on intermittent fasting, which might have long-term consequences for the weight loss, for metabolic, cardiovascular. When we are talking about metabolic, you might ask this question: what are the metabolic or cardiovascular, outcomes? As I mentioned at some points, it includes blood pressure, it includes glucose fasting, it includes LDL, HDL, triglycerides. So all these are, cardiovascular risk factors for vascular diseases. So I believe this might change our approach in future, especially with relation uh, to the patient who have obesity, patient with obesity, patient with overweight. Uh, there are more. I think we will look for more, meta-analysis on other diseases. We might find some. If you have got such meta-analysis, I would invite you, all of you, you try to join this journal club. It is for everyone. So the main objective for such kind of, journal clubs is to look at the current updates. For example, this is a new publication, and we discussed this paper today. And of course, I give you the reference. You can go and study. You will get more updated knowledge about this subject. So this is the benefit of participating in journal clubs. It is a routine fashion in developed countries. Unfortunately, it's not a routine. It's not even a priority. Even many people don't know the name of journal club. Unfortunately, this is the state of affairs. It's very bleak picture. But the hope from science, this platform always stands for research, uh, uh, creating a culture of research, supporting research. We have all kinds of facilities. I'm trying to gather, making an umbrella like this review, that if you want to be investigator, you should be supported by all tools, techniques, resources, knowledge, and guidelines. Now even we have established our Department of Statistics. We have a statistician also. You will get support for medical writing. You will get support for proposal writing. You will get, so science is not only talking, just talking on the research papers. Our objective is to make sure that we support any investigator from any aspect of research. That is why the first course which has been accredited in different countries, I name it as that curriculum, by the way, designed by myself with the help of review from other sources, from British, from America. So the name I gave it, because of that reason, it is proposal to publication course, PTOP. We name it PTOP, proposal to publication. So you will get, at this platform, science will make sure that you not only attend the research programs, you are able to become investigator and you are able to conduct your own study in your own center with your own population patients. So this is all we can do. Thank you very much. You have questions, comments. We may have few minutes for that. Who are with us now? I hope you are not bored by this. This is somewhat, difficult for the comprehension, the brain. Any questions? Bernice, how are you? Bernice knows the research. She is good in research.
Doc, I'm doing well. How are you doing too?
Yeah. We need
Sorry,
next
I joined a bit late.
next paper. I am expecting from your side.
That's good to know. I'm just talking with a colleague. Think who is working in a hospital, so I'm just discussing with her to enroll her hospital onto the survey. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we are all students of research. So when you are study, that is why we say it is a study. Study means you are learning. So researcher is
Yeah.
always a student. He is always a learner. So we are learning about hospital malnutrition and many other things. So any questions from anyone? Thank you very much, Bernice, for joining for today's talk. Bernice is our colleague. She is with science from beginning and she's from Ghana. And I think they conducted 3 courses, Bernice, in Ghana for research.
Yes.
I think many people, they participated our research programs. We actually started from Ghana initially. So what about our participants? No one wants to participate? Tahira, Tavinda, Ragaya Ali Sharif. She is one of our investigators. How are you, Rukaiya? Rukaiya will participate in our hospital malnutrition research. Yes, Rukaiya, كيف الحال؟
وعليكم السلام.
أنا ممكن شوية
السلام عليكم.
اللغة العربية شوية.
احنا عربي فل. انجليزي فيو.
ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله تبارك.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
I am great. I am very, very happy to join this research.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله.
I will begin in Soba Hospital in Sudan, but we will begin the research and collect data. Yes.
Let me Rugaiya, tell everyone that Dr. Rugaiya is the first investigator. She got approved.
I am a dietitian.
Yes.
I am a dietitian.
First investigator for hospital malnutrition research, and she got approval from her hospital in Sudan. Our proposal has been approved by your hospital, right?
It is very good research. وكنت متمني I will speak by Arabic. كنت متمني البحث ده يكون في many hospital in the Sudan لكن but ما لقيت يعني response from other hospital in the Sudan.
لا
ما شاء problem many problem.
ايوه ما في مشكله ان شاء الله في المستقبل
ان شاء الله
كله تمام ان شاء الله.
ان شاء الله ان شاء الله. بس بسأل من الميثودولوجي يا
methodology
من
في مشاكل؟
يس من الاس جي اي تحسب الاس جي اي نعمل نكولكت داتا.
ايوه ما اس دي
ما في طريقه بالمص
والله ماسك ممكن بس انا اشوف اول
subjective global assessment is better.
ماسك شويه مشكله شويه complicated.
مشكله. يلا احنا بنحتاج لكاليبر. جبنا كجهاز الجهاز السيستم بتاع الكاليبر جبناه يعني برينج شويه كان difficult لكن الحمد لله عندنا.
ممكن في موجود؟
موجود الحمد لله.
أنا شوف
get us
must
يعني
ممكن must كويس
جبناه.
must هذا tool كويس أحسن يعني.
must خلاص ما مشكلة نعمل.
واحد هذا
ممكن two tools نعمل two tools.
في ثاني ممكن هذا بس ممكن
two tools السبجكتيف جلوبال والبس.
ايوه بس
two tools ممكن نعمل.
ممكن بس هذا شويه يعني انا لازم
بيعمل disturbance.
ايوه لازم يعني اكتب طريقه
يكون one way one method.
one method اصلا يعني one method هذا homogeneous you know all same.
نعمل subjective global assessment بس ال SGA just يعني.
إذا فرق
it is the best.
أيوة هذا يعني مرة كويس SGA.
مرة ال SGA.
أيوة
دارين شرح يا دكتور والله داري لنا explain this way يعني إذا في طريقة يعني.
ممكن طريقة 50 طريق موجود 50. هذا واحد.
والله إذا داري لنا.
You know maybe we are talking Arabic, but maybe this is this depends on the validity of the tool. Why this tool is important? Because it is valid tool. Not every tool is valid. You know, validity and reliability.
Yes.
You know, validity,
okay.
validity and reliability. That is important. When you use any tool, if it is not valid, your results will be unreliable. So, SGA has a 88%, specificity and reliability. I checked everything. The most valid tool in the world for malnutrition assessment is SGA. Okay, Rukaiya, you can go ahead and you can start collecting data. And we are also starting, inshallah, from other hospitals. Any other question? Dr. Latif, you are with us? I can see your name. MashaAllah, this is a whole research team, future researchers with us. Adinta, Tahira.
Yes, sir. Sir, ये question है एक sir.
जी पूछे फिर इससे पहले कि मैं क्लोज करूं फिर.
हाँ जी सर, ये जो टाइप्स आपने मेंशन किए इसमें से कोई है जो सबसे ज्यादा